book is called Drunk. Yeah, and as one who has danced with drink a bit. Yeah, not a lot, a bit. Yeah, a bit of the devil dance. Yeah. It's debatable, but you know, I've found that, of course, I immediately could relate to the main character. It's called Larry. You can relate. You can see where he's going off the skids. Yeah. You can just see how that career, the little gaps you have, the meeting with people.
Yes, an amazing job.
Yeah, but it's just like all these jobs of ours, journalism, or John could be going for liquid lunches and so on. So, John, how do you think, and what did you comment about this, the drinking? Why do you think there's so much like urban drinking, especially in this city?
Maybe I can say something about the story.
Yes.
I love the story.
Yes.
I also read Jackson Biko and I like his writing. And this particular one, and also I try to do, I usually read a book through the lenses of what is it telling me, what is not very obvious. And this guy, the way he descends and moves from this place of light, a good place, to this very dark, you know, the descent is really...
Kafudunga.
Yeah, it's just, you know, even I think even metaphorically, he just moves to this dark place, you know, where his soul is just, you know, a dark place, and then moves again to the light again. I think it's really commendable in that, apart from the fact that he's writing a story, he's also passing a very heavy message. Now, as for why it's happening, it's very difficult because human beings are very complex. Even for Larry, when you read about the brother,
the brother who was drunk.
The brother
first.
is the one who was drunk first, you know, coming from India and having studied, you know, zoology and all this.
Yes.
He looked
Let me
more
put it
hopeless.
this way: a combination of Indian whiskey and a degree in zoology is a recipe for alcoholism. That one, I was like, yes, I get you. Yeah.
But he thought,
Yes.
You're supposed to be doing engineering.
Yes.
What happened to you?
Yeah. The animals got in there. It was like sort of like a Jumanji.
But I think for me,
we are social drinkers, right? There is social drinking, and then there is now being dependent.
Becoming an alcoholic.
Becoming dependent, right? Because there are many people who drink. Yeah, my mother drinks. I drink. There's only one sibling in my family who doesn't drink.
Your future son drinks.
I hope he will, but not being dependent.
Yes.
But he was even carrying flasks.
You
to
see,
the
now
office.
I used to see that. I used to see that a bit in Russia.
Yeah.
That was common, like
Even here.
the silver flask.
Even here,
I think
some
the day
people-
you
don't
find
say
your-
much about that.
So there is social drinking, and then there is the heavy drinking that people do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to move this girl very fast to Bila. Yeah, I'll just sweep past John. We'll get back to you, sir. Bila.
I know someone.
Yes. Yeah. Bila. You know, there are people who fight battles with the bottle. Bila, what about the women in this thing? Because we don't just want to say that it's a male thing and so on. No, it's the boy child gets frustrated and does this thing. We met some very interesting characters. I could see those women.
I know.
I could see the crazy NGO.
I know.
You know, I could just so
We
see
know
them.
them.
You are just like, I know this person. And then he describes who looks drained of blood. They're in opposite spectrum in terms of class.
I'm pro-women, but I'm not very... What I'll say is I will not be a big critic of how Biko portrayed the women in his books because it is very relatable. These are women you go to a club, you will see, you're like, this is that woman that Biko is talking about, I promise, you know. All these characters are in our society, and I feel like he painted a very realistic picture of the society. He did not exaggerate in any way, and I really enjoyed that bit. Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, listen. This book is very male-centric,
Yeah, that's
and it is
true.
written
That's
by a dude. So,
Yeah.
I by just that, I already
it's
know that
Biko.
the display, the way women are going to be portrayed is going to be very male-centered, and how men see women. But other than the ladies that Larry gets with, there are other women like his mother,
Yes.
and the child's mother,
Yes.
who are these, you know the power of a mother's love, right? Last week we were talking about Trevor Noah and his mother.
Yes.
And it also plays into this whole thing of here is a mother who refuses to give up on you even when you don't. You get? It's usually said that we thrive in this. Nairobi is difficult. We only thrive because of the prayers of our mothers and our parents. So that is the one character I was very curious about, because at one point she's separated from her husband and she's alone and she's on this other side, and then here is her son going into this abyss. So what do you do as a parent? You know, there are parents who will be like, give up on you because that, but
no, but no
many
mothers.
Parents.
Like we said last week, like we said,
you can't speak for all of them.
Yes, and that's what I said, the vast majority.
Yeah.
It's nothing unique for a mother not to give up. They say a mother is the only person who will visit you, yeah? Even if you have slit a woman's throat and are rotting behind bars, and everyone is rooting for you to rot behind those bars, and deservedly so, your mother is going to show up there and say, kijana kukua like that. We have been covering cases where people are saying, oh, this boy was very good, he used to go to church, and so on. I want to bring John in over here.
Yeah, I think for me, there are different, I think, types of women in the book. Now we're talking about the book, not the
Society.
not the end of the society, and not the ladies we know in our lives, but in the book. And I think Tina brings this silent message, and very emotional, especially that point where she's with Larry but she's not there, and that happens in real life. I think somebody who went long time ago, but it's just there, physically and all this. I think the message that she passes is very is powerful, though she's not loud. Then there's of course the crazy, loud, violent ladies. So I think all of them, all the ladies and the mother, all the women there and the ladies there pass a message. Yeah.
Also the importance of just family. I think for more than anything else, this book is a representation of what family can do for you, and no matter what you do, whether you lose your job like Larry did, whether you lose every single thing, the brother kept coming. At the same bar he would go to early in the morning and leave in the evening. Family is always there. But then something else that comes out is the relationship he had with his lost father, or rather his absentee father. And I feel that contributed to him becoming a drunk. And to some extent, one can say that he became a drunk because of the relationship that he lost out with his father. You might say that's very Americanized.
No, that was like
But
that
I'm
was
sure
last week.
Magunga would
This week
agree.
we are going to say that is very European. Europeanized. But
The thing I was
You
trying to
see,
say
because
earlier
he was affected by his dad.
Because there's social drink and then
Yeah.
dependence. And you see, dependence comes many times. It's caused because of factors around, right? Because you have to drown certain noises in your head. That comes with his relationship with his father. When his job became something else, he used to love it, and then it just became one of those things. There's quite a bit that drives people to depending on alcohol the way Larry did. There are so many frustrations, and that's the thing. And if you look at Kenya right now, with all these things that we are going through, I'm not surprised that we keep on feeling buzz from Tuesdays to Sunday.
yeah, but yes,
Like Monday is just for recovery.
Yeah.
Tuesday you have
Absolutely.
karaoke, Wednesday you have what, Thursday you have reggae night, Friday, Saturday, that is,
Yep.
you decide whether it's Jiweke or this other side, and then Sunday is for, drinking with your boys in the Nyamachoma, and then just repeat.
My concern is
Plus, there's nothing else. Sorry, John, and don't forget your point. But there's also, especially, I can't even say for men these days. I was in Barcelona not too long ago. Barcelona, there are bars there, but there's so much. there's so much else to do. Yeah, you find they've got volleyball things. They've got things on the beach. They've got this ping pong, social clubs, swimming. We're in an urban space where everything is drunk. If you don't want to be in the house, and it's good to be in the house. I like being there a lot. So sometimes you want to do other things, but other than watch like the English Premiership, or the pub fills in for every social place in this country, almost. Or, you know, or you can play golf, which how many people can even afford it? Yeah, so, you know, I mean, for social or moderate drinkers, that's why there's a proliferation combined with the problems you mentioned in this country. But John was saying something.
Yeah, I think the issue is because I have friends of mine who have flipped. So they began, as you're saying, social drinkers, or if they can call it like that, if they want word like that, moderate, but they flip. And sometimes I think they're controlling that line, just knowing the tipping point before it becomes very dark. I don't think either of them, any of them rather, began with saying, you know, I want to be this drunk.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a wake-up call for all us social drinkers, you know. At what point do you start feeling like, now I'm becoming dependent on the bottle to drown my sorrows, you know, to drown my problems?
You know, they always say that, they say you take the first drink, and then the first drink takes the second one. And and from there at a point, you know,
but for Larry,
the 19th, yes.
For me, what moved me about Larry is that he reaches a point where he looks himself in the mirror and he sees this gaunt, you know, person he can hardly recognize. You know, he says like, this person has been pulled from rubble.
Yes.
And then he holds the mirror you do, and cries. So I think that self-realization that he's gone down too low.
But he still didn't turn around.
Yeah. But euphemism, you know, that's a dramatic moment.
It's
a dramatic moment in the book. Very few people have got a moment like Saul on his way to Damascus, where there's a bright light in the sky, and they say, "Oh my God, you know, abandon all bottles." You know,
but
it's usually other people who notice.
Yeah, and they tell you about it.
It is hard to know when you're slipping off. It's usually other people who notice, right? And then, but then the thing is, when people some people will notice, and then they will try and distance themselves from you because you're becoming a baggage. And then there are those people who actually care, and then they will be like staying there with you. And if you finally even slip and actually fall, they'll be there to help you get yourself back on your feet. So when you say it's a challenge to us to realize when we are sleeping, I don't think that's usually the case, right? It's usually us who, those friends of ours who we do not like hanging around with because they are nowadays are bothered and whatnot. Maybe it is us who are supposed to be our brother's keepers when it comes to such things.
And the humor.
So you do not agree?
In the book, the humor.
Oh yeah.
No, it's a very funny.
Book is funny, by the way.
Yes. You know, once you said Biko,
Yeah,
I mean, like,
yeah.
of course, automatically, as they say in the law, which I've never practiced, but I'm always preaching. As they say, we have taken judicial notice. The same way we know the sky is blue, and this carpet we are sitting on is red, and that's blue and orange and red.
As a man speaking.
Yeah. But we already know it's funny. I like when some girl says, you know, some crazy girl, there's the ashtray incident. And then he says, oh, you know, why do you always have to pick up the funny ones? So this book is funny throughout. It's not a book you put down and say, oh, what a bore. You know, the books that tire you. You reach somewhere and then you...
It's also not like Trevor Noah fun. It's dark fun. It's dark humor, right? Yes. The things that it's humor that will make you laugh, and you're like, why am I laughing at this, right?
Like that incident of the straw. The father was taking something, I think, from a straw.
Yes.
And then he thought his father would be more polished than that.
Yes.
And the boss, the Lance, the rich man, you know, and he says the things that rich men do, you know, collecting swords, going for dog shows.
Yeah.
He says that these are the things that money can make you do.
Do you have any collection of swords? No. You are just on the talk show bit. Let's talk about Lance. Yeah, let's talk about the Mzungu, because there's also that thing interested me. Yeah? I mean, there's always, I like the way he captured that white guy who comes here, like they say, to backpack. Then, you know, he just sticks around. And sometimes they are very fortunate. The skin helps, plus some connections here and there. It's true, it does. And then you end up like Lance. You're just that Kaburu Mzungu who's just around. You're just around in Kenya, and there's a way they talk to. It's not quite racist, but there's that thing for, you know, they have the Africans. And especially like even in the field of wildlife. I read something the other day where, you know, there's a Richard Leakey type, and there's always the African guys who are just there. And it added, it's relevant to the story because it added to the frustration of Larry's job. But let's talk about that expert boss. I don't think KTN has got an expert boss. I don't think so.
I don't know. I feel like that bit was very objective. I wouldn't want to comment a lot about that because I really don't feel like it was like too racist or I have, you know, very diverse opinions. Maybe Magunga would speak more authoritatively about
maybe
that.
you know about if they, like you see the thing is it's he's in advertising,
Yeah.
right? And in advertising, there are lots of spaces or there are farms in Nairobi that, you know, the boss is white. It's nothing new.
Yeah.
It's actually what it is, right? There is always the guy who is giving directions, and it is strategic, really. It's those ones for this guy is white. He probably knows what he's doing and what he's saying, right? So they get more jobs because of that, and I don't think that is something that is new now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a depiction of what
Reality.
our top advertising agency looks like, you know.
John, you're a general manager in a fairly big publishing firm. So what are your thoughts on this? Why do you think it is so? Why do you think, like at a place like Oxford, which is actually whiter than white, this Oxford is like, you know, it's actually Queen's English. That's where the best dictionary I have is from his farm, and it's a fat thing. I always see if a burglar came in, and sometimes I wake up early weekdays, like 3 o'clock. I never think of buying a rungo. I say if someone came into my apartment, if I hit them with that Oxford dictionary, they would have a concussion until 2063.
Because it's you, yes. I believe it.
Yes, it's a fat one. So I'm saying the farm is that Oxford. But why do we have that Oxford sort of, why do we still have an Oxford mentality in quotes? That it's the white person, because it comes out very nicely in this book.
For us, you know, it's a farm run by Kenyans, so there's no white person who works here.
Yes.
But we are a department of the University of Oxford.
Yes.
Yeah, so that arrangement is what makes us have that global, you know, connection. But for me, when coming back to the story, is that I actually found him adding a lot of value when it comes to the advice he was giving. So I think in the story he was not forced into the story. You know, some books you read and you know this character has been forced,
yes, maybe
by NGOs or something. But this one was just because it even talks about the issue of opportunities coming in tides, and I found that very, eye-opening. You know, opportunities come in tides. So I'm giving you an opportunity, you know, and you get only two. He said the only, I think two in life, the tides that come. So I think for me.
Oh, I actually thought you said opportunities come in tides.
Tides.
So throughout I was like
tides,
okay.
Like waves.
Or maybe we're in the stocking industry.
Yeah.
But
so.
I think it would be like he tried to help Larry, right?
Yeah.
He gave him a break. He told him, you know, go do this. Like, even from the promotion, and then trying to ask him to handle this thing, trying to ask him to get help. I mean, he wasn't just introduced to the story as this head of an advertising agency. The reason why the person was white is because we know in reality, like, that's what happens. Right. But in the story, there is little about the advertising world in itself.
Yes.
But this person this white guy who is trying to help him, but I don't think he succeeds that much.
But I think, just to add on him, I think the issue here is not necessarily his white boss.
Yes.
I think the issue here is, what do you do when you start becoming dissatisfied with your job? You know,
yes.
because this is a career that was, when he was starting out, he was going to the bigger office, he was going to get a managerial position. So if you look at it, that's the dream, right? You'll get more money, you'll have more money to spend and do whatever you need to do. But what happens when you get there and that dream that you had is not what you imagined? And then you become dissatisfied with your job. And unfortunately, the Kenyan economy does not allow us to just up and quit our jobs and start following our dreams.
Yes.
So at that point in time, I think, and I feel like that was the switch. That's when he started becoming a drunk, because he started feeling like he doesn't have purpose and he doesn't have motivation, despite the fact that he was getting a lot of money, which getting from the book. So what do you do when you start becoming very dissatisfied with a job you've wanted all your life? What do you do then?
And I think there's an entire generation of Kenyan men.
I
I
tried
call it the
that.
generation
I tried
of
that,
our
by the way.
fathers. Eh?
So I tried that. I can
Yes.
say, I may give my experience.
Yes.
In 2010, I left publishing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I think I was just
Tired.
tired. Yeah, that's the word. Tired, because I thought I'm running too much, you know. So I went to worked in the NGO world, and I got bored. And I came back. And I'm not saying that people who work in NGOs are not doing well. It's just that I think some of us, some people can work well, depending on your passion. You can work well in the NGO world or work well in a fast-paced, adrenaline-filled place. That's how I am made. So I could not I just found things a bit slow. So after 1 year, I flipped back to publishing, and I'm now back in. So I think it's your passion. And in the story, it's very clear that Larry didn't really want to go to that flow. He wanted to, yes, he wanted to do sales.
He was
to hang around.
promoted. He was promoted beyond his ability for felicity,
yes, to his
for happiness.
Yes, he was
just
promoted, I think, to his level of incompetence.
Yes. Yeah. And John, I'll say you're fortunate that you don't drink, because, like I was about to say, there's a generation of our fathers, even Obama's father. There are people whom, like my own dad, I can say this, Magunga will be very happy to hear this. There are people who did, like, you do accounts at Makerere, but in reality, you are meant maybe to be a civil engineer, because you're always working with your hands and you want to do that. Then you are stuck in offices, like for accounts, and it's totally not your thing. And then they'll do it, they end up like drinking, like they go for lunch, and then you just don't come back. Yeah, lunch is like, from 1 until 8. And that's how, like, alcohol dependency. I liked when you said the tipping point was actually, the job. So in Kenya, of course, let's not forget, there are a lot of people who drink because they are jobless or frustrated. Yeah, let's not forget. Yeah, Bill, I don't know why you're laughing.
Are you saying there's every reason to drink? There's always a reason to drink.
Yes,
Because if you have a job,
yes,
and if you don't,
yeah, we are a drinking nation, which is why
you can be frustrated because you're jobless, and then you can be frustrated because you don't like the job you have.
or you are happy, and also can also go and celebrate.
yes, and a lot of alcohol fills in a lot of those vacuums. There's those vacuums,
then
as
it
this
dries
book
out.
shows, it fills in the vacuum, then it dries.
And then you have to refill.
Yes.
But I think millennials are not grateful. I think our parents were very patient, even with your dad, right? He stuck to that job for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. But
No, actually, he had got like 20 jobs. Yeah, so
but
it's not,
because my mom has been on the same job for as long as I've known her. But unfortunately, for some reason, us millennials, we're not content. Whatever it is we're given, whether it's in relationships, whether it's with our jobs, you start getting into your job, and all of a sudden you're like, maybe this is not what I want to do.
I think
and
it's
all of
like,
a sudden,
I think it's because of
you
the
want to
internet. They always blame everything on the internet, because you see another lifestyle. Our parents didn't have all
Instagram,
these fantasies. Yeah, but Wakina Magunga here they tell you, oh yeah, it can be like this. You can just become like this. You can be a boss.
Please. There is
yes.
nothing
So I'll
wrong
give each
with
of you like.
the internet.
with the internet. Okay, there is a lot wrong, but
Yeah.
this argument of millennials, we'll have this discussion some other time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Because now we
actually
are running out
like
of time.
20
But
seconds.
anyways.
I want just like a final word, like on
Okay.
your as I call her Catherine the Zarina, as she always says when she's here. Is it a yay or a nay? Yeah. So we will start with you.
So for me it's a yay, but there are certain like it has a lot of room for improvement, right? There are certain aspects about the book that do not work well for me, especially when it comes to character development. The people in the book, they kind of sound the same, right? Even though they're different people with different backgrounds, right? So you find someone who is a Django person and someone who is an urban guy, not urban, but this office guy in advertising, they almost sound the same. I had problems with chaptering, because you find that half a page, like, so there are things that are a chapter and you're like, why is this a chapter? It doesn't, like, if it was, the chaptering is supposed to be like ushering a new phase.
Yes.
for
Okay.
stories
So the
that is on-
transitions.
Yeah, the
are not
transitions
that
into
very
chaptering was a
bad.
bit of a...
Okay.
But all in all, it was a good first try.
Yes.
And looking forward to seeing what he does next.
Fantastic. Sir John.
Yeah, for me it's a yes, because I like the story, and sometimes I can forgive very many things if the story is good, and this is a good story. So I really like that bit. And as she said, these are people you'll see. There are places you just know. How many books do we read that are that close, to us, not removed? This is not Lagos. This is not New York. No, it's not Washington. This is Nairobi. So I think this is one of those books that should actually be in our collection. And also at the airport when somebody comes and they want to, and your book about
Nairobi, the Night Runner.
Yeah, Night Runner. Those books.
Yes.
Those are books that, because when I go to other places, those are the kind of books I want to read. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you very much.
It's a definite yeah for me. I feel like, especially for somebody who cannot read a book as big as Americana, which are the kind of people who go to Biko's blog. Some people are not book readers. So if you're looking to transition into book reading, this is the book for you. It's small, you'll read it in a day, you'll finish it. It feels like a big blog. It feels like a very long blog. So for that reason, it's an yay. The ending felt a bit abrupt and rushed, and I felt like I didn't have closure, but that's just me. There's obviously technical aspects of the book that he obviously needs to polish up on if he needs to proceed in terms of as an author. But as a first book, I think it was a great book.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it.
Yes. Yeah, I also look very forward to Mr. Jackson Biko's next book. Yeah, because I'm sure there'll be more, and they'll be even bigger and better. Yeah. So I agree. I think we have got a unanimous, sort of 3.5 yay. Yeah, and that's good enough. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us this Monday morning on Books and Blogs. Please get drunk, especially.
No.
Oh,
The book.
No.
yeah. Sorry, I can truly say for one of the few times in my life that pun was totally unintended.